For most of us, when we just drop our head at the lower vertebra here, but we want to flex the entire neck as well as, of course, the entire spine. Round the spine again by tucking the tail, pull the ribs in, and instead of letting the head kind of just drop, pull the chin, throat back, then pull your chin and neck and lengthen the back of your occipital ridge, which is where your skull meets your neck. Okay, and then release. Rise this time, high lunge, nice and tall. Place the hands on the front thigh, exhale. Let's arch the back like we're doing cat and cow, starting with cow pose. Then as you exhale, pull the ribs back, flex the spine, and even pull the chin, throat back. Inhale, like you're going to cow. Exhale, cat. Pull the ribs back, chin and throat back. Inhale, arch. Exhale, flex the spine. Now let's hold the flexion of the spine. Now make like you have a big beach ball, like you're holding a big ball, and pull the front ribs and chest back. So you're really flexing in the spine and you have that round back position. And of course, we're loading up the strength of the right glutes, the front buttock muscles. Let's knee to chest, and we're gonna pause here. Now, normally when people bring the knee to the chest, they don't have their abdominals, their shoulders, or their hip flexors really turned on, and it winds up something like this. So push the ground away, separate your shoulder blades, pull the ribs in, pull the knee into the chest, and create this flexed position where you really have a nice lift. You see I'm on the very tippy toes of the back foot. Pull the ribs in, push the ground away with your arms. So that's serratus anterior. Ribs in, that's going to be abdominal muscles and psoas, and knee to chest, more psoas, more hip flexors. Good. And then release. Our lizard, first lift your bottom up. This is going to make it harder on the hips, but part of that is to stretch the left hamstrings and glutes a little bit more. So hips go up and back, then take your elbows down to the block or the ground, whichever is accessible for you. And then once you're there, push down through the elbows, pull the ribs in, create flexion of the spine. And then draw the chin in and lengthen the back of your skull. So you're flexed in your upper back. Of course, you're quite anterior tilted in the pelvis. If you want to add something on here, you can pull your left heel and right knee, front foot and back knee toward each other a little bit. Now let's come back to forearms on the ground. And we're gonna go back into our forearm plank. Come all the way, pelvis down, lengthen the chest. Now, once you're in this position here, breathe in, stretch the low abdomen, and then we're gonna take that same exercise we did earlier, but take it up a notch. So we go inhale, exhale, chin towards chest, ribs pull back, pubic bone towards navel. Now press the tops of your feet down. Notice how my feet are pointed. And then come up to forearm plank, tailbone lowers and tucks, pubic bone towards navel, elbows and feet pull toward each other, upper back rounded. Then slowly lower the knees. Slowly lower the knees. Don't bend them, just lower them. Lower the thighs, then the pubic bone, then the belly, then the heart. Now we'll turn the back heel down, straighten through the right leg. Start with a lengthened chest. Okay, with the lengthened chest, you're essentially using your back muscles to help tip the pelvis forward anteriorly. Okay, that stretches the hamstrings. Once you get to the point where your belly kind of feels like it's touching your thigh, then it's time to move into flexion of the upper back. So bowing. Now it's easy to just simply bow and let gravity do it for you. What we want to do is once you start bowing, pull your ribs back, flex the spine or reverse bow it, trying to activate the abdominal muscles, and lengthen the back of the skull towards your toes. Try to pull the head towards the front toes while pulling the ribs back. Those are contrasting actions, so it should feel like they're opposing each other. So I'm gonna go like outer hip width apart. You can explore all different depths, but do something a little different than you normally do. Why not? Lift the hips up and use your back muscles to slide your butt back into more anterior tilt. So you're more in a back bend. Lead with the sternum forward. Keeping the sternum forward in this position. You could use a strap around your feet. You know, some people get really bent out of shape when you use your arms. It's not about pulling yourself forward, but giving yourself like a little resistance can help you to arch your back and activate your back muscles. So it's not about using your arms to pull yourself forward. It's about using your back muscles to initiate. You just use your hands as an anchor point, okay? And then you keep tipping forward, straighten the legs. At this point, you might say like, okay, Well, I won't be getting to flexion of the spine today, because my belly's nowhere near my thighs. Or you might start to get a little bit deeper over time. Maybe it's today, or maybe it's, over the next year, where your belly starts touching your thighs. At that point, you want to start to use the flexion of the upper back, lengthen the skull towards the toes, ribs back. Keep pulling the skull towards the toes. That's going to ensure that that lead with the heart action is still in your body. I'm also thinking sticking the bum back, pulling the hamstrings back, while I'm pulling the ribs towards the spine, creating that spinal flexion, reverse bowing of the middle back. Flexing the toes will make it certainly more difficult because the calves are also stretching, the whole posterior chain is stretching. Using the exhale to deepen your spinal flexion typically is helpful. Lengthen the back of the neck towards the toes. Okay, come on up.